There's many pitfalls in startups. Please avoid fatal mistakes. Do your research and then go to somebody who's had direct experience. Your idea really has a chance to make a difference in the world.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Adam LG Ring. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Terrific. Thanks, Angel. How are you?
I'm excellent, excellent as can be. It's a great pleasure to connect with you, Adam. Please do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Well, I've been making it my mission for the rest of my life to help startups, especially tech for good startups, because I want to leave this world having, at least helped, quote, save the world, at least contributed to some of these startups that it's my hope they can solve some of the problems that we have.
Yeah, dig into that. Who did you learn that ability from, specifically the ability to understand that there is a value in helping people, and secondly, the legacy block?
Well, I've always had a natural tendency, even as a child, to want to help others instead of helping myself. And then I stumbled into startups very early on, 25 years ago. And it's been, very rewarding for me, both, spiritually and financially. And so now, I'm comfortable to try and pass it on before I retire.
And when you say retire, do you mean like the job or do you mean life?
Maybe both. You hear when people retire, they pretty shortly after that die. There's quite a few people whose their life is their work and their work is their life.
Yeah. So why will you continue to be this guy? Definitely there are the challenges that come with being the individual that decides to help first. Why will you continue nevertheless?
Well, I think a lesson I learned was that if you are a giving person, and I gravitate towards those in my networking, everyone that I associate with are these good, ethical people. I think the problem is half the people that you meet aren't those sort of ethical people, and they'll take advantage if you're naive. So the one caveat I've had to put into place is, if you wouldn't do the same for me, then I'm not going to help you if you wouldn't help me in this, if our situations were reversed.
That's really great what you're doing, giving service to the startup community. There are just some things you're blindsided when you're coming into a space, and you having had that opportunity, you're able to help make individuals not make the mistakes that they would so easily make, right? Which is great. Now, where's the best place for someone that's listening to connect with you to find out more about how you can help them with that?
Well, I'd be very interested if they're working in tech for good, if they go to LinkedIn and search for Adam LG Ring. Unfortunately, there's another Adam Ring, a very nice guy, but he works for Disney, so you need to put the LG in there.
That's wonderful. Well, tell me one other thing, Adam, that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
I've been working very steadily in data privacy, actually. Since coming to Europe, I've moved from Australia to expand my horizons, and I've been lobbying with the help of others. I've been lobbying the EU Parliament about where the line should be drawn about data privacy, because my strong belief is we can't just say capitalism doesn't work and we have to throw it all out. We have to find a balance where we protect users' rights, but businesses can also make money, because that's what pays our salaries, it what drives our economy. The tax that's generated from that, pays for our roads. So there has to be a line, and the line I found was in Europe. In the EU, they have a data privacy law called GDPR, and it enshrines a lot of the rights to privacy that users have, which actually was a human right to start with. But it protects you and it gives you a lot of power, as opposed to another legislation that they're thinking of, which is the EPR, which goes perhaps a step too far. It would basically end the data is the new oil model. So a company like Facebook or Google, with their EPR in place, they wouldn't be able to operate profitably in Europe. And some people would say they don't care about the big companies, but the problem is those same rules apply to medium and small companies, and they're the ones that I'm looking at. I'm trying to help small startups get started, and if they have too onerous data privacy laws, they're not going to be able to grow their business. They're not going to be able to follow the traditional startup model, and they're not going to succeed. And we don't want that. We want to do everything we can to help new startups and new entrepreneurs, especially tech for good ones.
How does it make you feel interacting with the two sides of the scale where you understand the value in the justice side of things, as well as understanding the implications that can go with it if there's an iron hand approach? How does that make you feel?
Well, you feel like a little pawn in a big game of chess. You don't have a lot of power as an individual, and you feel like things are moving without anybody being able to do anything about it. You hear a lot of people on Twitter and LinkedIn saying, that's not just and that's not right. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of great ideas. They're very smart, but they can't really influence these policies. And I think that's a great frustration and a disconnect in our democracies. The ministers and the governments are making decisions that are divorced from what scientists think, from what philosophers think, and from what the public thinks.
Suggest to someone that's listening, what's a good first step in understanding what should be your rights where these things are concerned, especially in the online space?
With data privacy, the first concept is you own your personal data. So anything that identifies you, anything that's personal to you, your phone number, your date of birth, especially your medical history, especially the sensitive personal data, you have almost absolute rights to control that data and to decide what the company does with it. Now, the implementation of that is quite limited. It's quite difficult to tell Google the privacy settings you want. It might take you an hour to specify exactly what Google needs to do. So, the privacy tech company that we're starting, one of the ideas there is a B2C product that's a one-touch privacy. You spend some time on the app deciding what privacy you want, going from, on the one side, you're a complete privacy pioneer, you don't want anyone to know anything about you, to the person who doesn't mind sharing their personal data to get the free services, which are great, from Facebook and Google and Twitter and all these services, Instagram, you get a great service for no money. They're happy to give some of their personal data, but they're creeped out by targeted ads. They don't want Google or somebody knowing that they like red shoes. It's just too creepy for them. So that's where they draw their line. And then you have other people that are completely apathetic. They just want to enjoy the service and they're happy to give whatever personal data the service wants, which is fine. So we can cater for all of those people. They say, okay, I'm a privacy pioneer, or they press the button. Every service on the internet, every app, the privacy is set. They don't have any more to do. And I think that's the future, where businesses learn to work with consumers and the consumer easily can say, this is what I prefer. And now the business can go about adjusting their business model slightly, but still able to make money from those customers.
Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Adam L.G. Ring. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. Adam, let's switch gears for a moment. Now, let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Adam, what's your earliest childhood memory?
I remember chipping my tooth at my grandfather's house and being quite shocked that up until then life was really good, and then all of a sudden, bad things can happen to you.
So how old were you when this happened?
I think I must have been between 3 and 5.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Well, I'm not sure how clear it is, because my father is a psychiatrist and he says, look, you've got to be careful with memory. It's not at all accurate, and it's informed by your emotions and all that. But so I can't know for sure what happened, but I do remember the shock. It was like my first experience saying, the world is not a safe place.
And was it that because it was painful, you felt as though it wasn't a safe place, or just the process of the fall and then losing, like being fazed by a chipped tooth?
I don't remember any pain, actually. Wow. I'm sure there was pain. The memory is the mental shock, and I think that's in my life. I've noticed that, I do karate, the pain almost doesn't matter. But to be upset or betrayed by someone, or to be shocked, expect one thing, the mental pain is so much worse than any physical pain.
That's really intriguing. Yeah, it resonates even deeper, doesn't it? Well, I think for most people, right? But the way you're doing it is pretty intriguing, in that you analyzed yourself from then to now. It's pretty intriguing. All right. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song, Adam?
I used to listen to every Eurythmics song. I loved that it had a female lead singer, and I remember spending a lot of time feeling happy listening to that music.
What song? Was it like Sweet Dreams?
It's probably, I don't know if it's any particular one. I used to listen to whole albums as opposed to, best ofs. I used to take it as these are the 12 tracks that make an experience. You know what I mean?
Yes. Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Adam?
Yes, I'm ready, Angel.
Adam, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes, I have a mentee, I should say, Lisa from Australia. She's very enthusiastic. She reminds me of when I was a lot younger. It's exciting to pass something on.
Are you married?
I am. It's a modern marriage. The way that I actually came to Paris was my partner got a German passport. So I'm living in Paris under the EU law.
All right. So do you have children?
No, we couldn't have children. So I think that's probably why I have this feeling now where I want to give, like, startups are my babies. You know what I mean?
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I'm a Roman Catholic.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, I gravitate towards people that are ethical and doing good like myself.
And what about TV? Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
I used to watch a lot of TV. I don't have a lot of time for it now, but of course, being from a technological background, I used to watch a lot of Star Trek.
Oh, sweet. What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's definitely more than 8, Angel.
And what about reading? How often do you read?
I'm reading all the time that I can.
All right. Well, again, this has been such of a great pleasure, Adam. Before we leave, I would like to know, is there like a statement, your own unique real statement that represents who you are, that you use often, or a mission statement?
Yes, I often say I'm doing my best. So that's nice. You're not saying that you're perfect, but it is at any one time the best you are able to do.
Adam, again, a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, I'd like to say to these new young entrepreneurs, there's many pitfalls in startups, and the idea for you is please avoid fatal mistakes, and a lot of them are simple. Just like if you read an online dating book, before online dating, you can avoid a lot of mistakes by reading about online dating. So similarly, you're starting a startup, do your research your sector, get the basic knowledge off the internet, and then go to somebody who's had direct experience, a startup mentor, someone who believes in what you're doing and can help you avoid those easy mistakes. That's probably going to avoid 50% of failures in startups. And then your startup, your idea really has a chance to make a difference in the world.
Again, Adam LG Ring, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.